Imagine waking up in the middle of the night, your mind racing with worries about work, relationships, and the future. You feel trapped in a cycle of overthinking, where even the smallest problems seem insurmountable. This is the reality many of us face in today's fast-paced, unpredictable world. But what if there was a way to break free from this mental chaos? Enter Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time, offering practical tools to navigate life's uncertainties and reclaim your peace of mind. In this video, we'll explore 30 powerful Stoic lessons specifically designed to help you overcome anxiety and live with greater clarity and resilience. Whether you're new to Stoicism or already familiar with its principles, these lessons will provide actionable insights to transform how you think, feel, and respond to life's challenges. So, if you're ready to take control of your anxiety and embrace a calmer, more focused way of living, let's dive in together. By the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit of Stoic practices that can make a real difference in your daily life. Let's get started. Now, let's begin with the first Stoic lesson, which is a cornerstone of this philosophy. The principle here is simple yet transformative. Focus only on what you can control. This idea comes from recognizing that so much of what causes us anxiety lies outside our influence. Think about it. You can't control the weather, what others say about you, or even how a particular day unfolds. But what you can control is how you respond to these things. Your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions are entirely within your power. For example, if you're stuck in traffic, you can't magically clear the road, but you can choose to stay calm and use the time to listen to a podcast or reflect on your day. Similarly, while you can't control how someone treats you, you can control how you react to their behavior. The Stoics believed that by shifting our focus to what we can control, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and anxiety. This doesn't mean ignoring what's happening around us. It means accepting what we can't change and directing our energy toward what we can. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, is this within my control? If it is, take action. If it's not, let it go. This simple mindset shift can be incredibly liberating and is the first step toward building resilience in the face of life's uncertainties. Let's move forward to the next lesson, where we'll explore how embracing change can further ease our anxieties. Shifting our focus, let's explore the second Stoic lesson, accepting the nature of change. Life is constantly in motion, and resisting this natural flow often leads to anxiety. Stoicism teaches us to embrace change rather than fear it. Think about it, whether it's a sudden career shift, the end of a relationship, or even the loss of a loved one, change is an inevitable part of life. The Stoics believed that by accepting change, we can reduce the stress it brings. For example, imagine you've been laid off from a job you've held for years. It's easy to spiral into worry about the future. But instead of fearing this shift, Stoicism encourages you to see it as an opportunity for growth. Maybe this is your chance to pursue a passion or learn new skills. Similarly, when faced with personal losses, accepting the impermanence of life can help ease the pain. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By viewing change as a natural part of existence, we can approach it with calmness and resilience. This doesn't mean we won't feel sadness or uncertainty, but we can choose not to let those emotions overwhelm us. Accepting change allows us to adapt, grow, and find peace even in the face of life's unpredictability. So, the next time you're confronted with a major shift, remind yourself that change is not your enemy, it's a teacher. With this mindset, you can navigate life's ups and downs with greater confidence and less anxiety. Now, let's move on to the next lesson, where we'll uncover how preparing for the worst can actually help us feel more secure. Now, let's turn our attention to the third Stoic lesson, practicing negative visualization. This might sound counterintuitive at first. After all, why would we want to imagine worst-case scenarios? But the Stoics believed in a technique called premeditatio malorum, which translates to the premeditation of evils. The idea is simple yet powerful. By mentally preparing for challenges, we can reduce our fear of the unknown and build resilience. Think of it like this: if you're worried about an upcoming presentation, instead of avoiding the anxiety, imagine the worst that could happen. Maybe your audience seems uninterested or you stumble over your words. By visualizing these possibilities, you're not just bracing yourself mentally, you're also gaining clarity on how to respond. This practice helps us realize that even in the worst-case scenario, we can handle it. It's not about dwelling on negativity, but about preparing ourselves to face life's uncertainties with confidence. For example, a Stoic might reflect on the loss of a job or the end of a relationship, not to dwell on the pain, but to understand that these events, while difficult, are survivable. By doing so, we transform fear into preparedness and anxiety into calmness. This doesn't mean we'll never feel nervous or uneasy, but we'll be better equipped to navigate those emotions. Negative visualization reminds us that life is unpredictable, and by preparing for the worst, we can appreciate the present more fully. So, the next time you feel anxious about the future, take a moment to visualize the challenges you might face. You'll likely find that once you've walked through the worst in your mind, it loses much of its power over you. With this mindset, you can approach life's uncertainties with a sense of readiness and peace. Next, we'll explore how focusing on gratitude can shift our perspective and further reduce anxiety. Shifting our focus to the fourth Stoic lesson, we explore the power of cultivating gratitude. At its core, Stoicism teaches us to direct our attention toward what we already possess rather than fixating on what we lack. This shift in perspective can be transformative, especially when it comes to managing anxiety. When we constantly chase after what we don't have, we create an endless cycle of dissatisfaction and worry. But when we pause to appreciate the abundance in our lives, whether it's our health, relationships, or even the simple pleasures of a quiet moment, we begin to see things differently. Gratitude doesn't erase challenges, but it helps us approach them with a calmer, more balanced mindset. One practical way to incorporate this Stoic principle into your life is through daily gratitude journaling. Take a few minutes each evening to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand or life-changing. It could be as simple as savoring a hot cup of coffee or enjoying a heartfelt conversation with a friend. Over time, this practice trains your mind to seek out the positive, even in difficult situations. Another approach is to mentally rehearse gratitude during moments of stress. For instance, if you're feeling overwhelmed at work, pause and remind yourself of the opportunities your job provides or the skills you've gained. This doesn't mean ignoring the challenges, but it allows you to reframe them within a broader context of appreciation. Stoicism reminds us that true contentment comes not from external possessions, but from an inner shift in how we perceive the world. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we cultivate a sense of fulfillment that can dramatically reduce anxiety. So, as you move through your day, make it a habit to notice and appreciate the blessings around you. This simple yet profound practice can help you find peace and stability, even in the midst of life's uncertainties. Next, we'll delve into the importance of living in the present moment and how it can further ease anxiety. Moving forward, let's explore the 5th Stoic lesson, living in the present moment. Stoicism places great emphasis on mindfulness, teaching us to anchor our attention to the here and now. When we dwell on the past or obsess over the future, we often spiral into anxiety, replaying mistakes or worrying about what might go wrong. But the present moment, as Stoics remind us, is the only space where we truly have control. By practicing mindfulness, we can break free from the mental loops that fuel anxiety. Think of it this way: the past is already gone and the future is uncertain. What matters most is how we choose to act and think right now. One way to cultivate this mindset is by focusing on your breath. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, take a few deep breaths and bring your attention to the sensations of inhaling and exhaling. This simple act can ground you in the present, pulling you away from unproductive thoughts. Another practical exercise is to engage fully in whatever you're doing, whether it's eating, walking, or having a conversation. Notice the details, the flavors of your food, the rhythm of your steps, the tone of someone's voice. This practice not only reduces anxiety, but also deepens your appreciation for the experience itself. Stoicism teaches us that overthinking is a form of self-imposed suffering. By training ourselves to focus on the present, we can strip away unnecessary worries and find peace in the simplicity of the moment. Remember, life unfolds one step at a time. When we learn to embrace the present, we reclaim our power to live fully and authentically, free from the weight of what's already happened or what might come next. Next, we'll discuss how reframing challenges as opportunities can further strengthen your Stoic mindset. Shifting our perspective, let's dive into the sixth Stoic lesson, reframing challenges as opportunities. Life is full of obstacles, but Stoicism teaches us that these hurdles are not setbacks, they're stepping stones for growth. The way we perceive difficulties can either paralyze us or propel us forward. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we can transform our struggles into powerful tools for self-improvement. Think of it like this. Every challenge is a chance to practice virtues like courage, patience, and resilience. For example, facing a difficult project at work might feel overwhelming, but it's also an opportunity to hone your problem-solving skills and build confidence. Even personal setbacks, like a failed relationship or a missed goal, can teach us valuable lessons about ourselves and the world. The Stoics believed that obstacles are not external problems, but rather invitations to test and strengthen our character. When we shift our focus from what's going wrong to what we can learn, we reclaim control over our experience. One practical way to apply this principle is to ask yourself, what can this situation teach me? Or how can I grow from this experience? This simple reframe can turn frustration into curiosity and fear into determination. Remember, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By viewing challenges as opportunities, we not only reduce anxiety, but also unlock our potential for growth. Life's difficulties become less about what's happening to us and more about who we're becoming. Next, we'll explore how developing emotional resilience can further empower us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and strength. Building on this mindset, let's explore the seventh Stoic lesson, developing emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable, and our emotions can often feel overwhelming, but Stoicism offers a powerful way to navigate this turbulence. The key lies in learning to detach from our emotions without suppressing them. Stoics believe that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. This doesn't mean ignoring our feelings or pretending they don't exist. Instead, it's about creating a mental space where we can observe our emotions without letting them dictate our actions. For example, when faced with criticism, it's natural to feel hurt or defensive. But a Stoic approach would encourage us to pause, reflect, and ask, is this criticism valid? If so, how can I learn from it? By responding rationally rather than reacting impulsively, we build resilience. Another practice Stoics recommend is recognizing that emotions are temporary. When we feel anger, sadness, or anxiety, we often act as if these feelings will last forever. But by reminding ourselves that emotions are passing states, we can avoid being consumed by them. Think of it like a storm, intense while it's happening, but it always passes. This perspective helps us stay grounded in the face of life's challenges. Emotional resilience also involves focusing on what is within our control. We can't control the actions of others or unexpected events, but we can control our thoughts, choices, and attitudes. By directing our energy toward these areas, we reduce the power external circumstances have over our emotional well-being. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This reminds us that our fears and anxieties are often magnified by our minds. By practicing emotional resilience, we learn to face reality as it is, not as we fear it might be. This Stoic approach doesn't eliminate challenges, but it equips us to meet them with clarity and strength. Next, we'll delve into the 8th lesson, which introduces the powerful idea of loving your fate, or amor fati. Shifting our focus now, let's explore the profound Stoic principle of amor fati, or loving your fate. This concept invites us to embrace everything life throws our way, not just the good but also the challenges and setbacks. Amor fati teaches us to see every experience, whether joyful or painful, as an essential part of our journey. Instead of resisting what we cannot change, we learn to accept it fully and find meaning in it. Imagine life as a tapestry. Every thread, no matter its color, contributes to the overall beauty of the design. Similarly, every event in our lives, even the difficult ones, shapes who we are and helps us grow. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to, rather, wish that what happens happens the way it happens." This mindset shifts our focus from trying to control external circumstances to finding peace with them. Practicing amor fati doesn't mean we have to like everything that happens. It means we choose to accept it as inevitable and use it as an opportunity for growth. For example, losing a job might feel devastating, but it could also open doors to a new career path or teach us resilience. Even in moments of loss or hardship, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? Or how can this help me become stronger? This perspective helps us transform adversity into opportunity. To apply amor fati in daily life, start by noticing when you resist or complain about situations beyond your control. Pause and remind yourself that this moment, however uncomfortable, is part of your story. Over time, this practice can help you cultivate a sense of gratitude for life as it is, not as you wish it to be. By loving your fate, you develop a deeper sense of inner peace and resilience, no matter what life brings. Next, we'll discuss how setting realistic expectations can further help us reduce anxiety and align with Stoic principles. Moving forward, let's consider how setting realistic expectations can play a crucial role in managing anxiety. Often, we feel overwhelmed or disappointed because our expectations don't align with reality. We might expect life to go exactly as planned, or we might place too much pressure on ourselves or others to meet certain standards. Stoicism teaches us to step back and evaluate these expectations, ensuring they are grounded in what is actually possible. For example, expecting to always succeed without facing setbacks is unrealistic. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. By setting more practical expectations, we can reduce the gap between what we hope for and what actually happens, which in turn lessens feelings of frustration or anxiety. The Stoics remind us that external outcomes are often beyond our control, but how we approach them is entirely within our power. Instead of demanding perfection or expecting everything to go smoothly, we can train ourselves to focus on effort over results. This doesn't mean lowering our standards or giving up on goals. It means acknowledging that setbacks are part of the process and learning to adapt when things don't go as planned. Think of it like navigating a winding road. If we expect the path to be straight, we'll likely feel frustrated when it curves. But if we accept that twists and turns are natural, we can drive with more ease and confidence. To apply this lesson, take a moment to reflect on your current expectations. Are they realistic, or are they setting you up for disappointment? Adjusting them doesn't mean settling. It means creating a mindset that allows you to face life's uncertainties with calm and resilience. By aligning your expectations with reality, you not only reduce anxiety but also open yourself to greater peace and satisfaction in the present moment. Next, we'll explore how avoiding the overvaluation of external things can further help us find stability and calm in life. Now, let's turn our attention to how we can find deeper calm by reevaluating what we prioritize in life. One of the central teachings of Stoicism is to avoid placing too much value on external things, material possessions, social status, or the opinions of others. These are often the very things we chase in hopes of finding happiness, but Stoicism reminds us that they are fleeting and ultimately outside our control. When we tie our sense of worth or peace to these external factors, we set ourselves up for constant disappointment and anxiety. Think about it. If our happiness depends on having the latest gadgets, achieving a certain job title, or gaining approval from others, we're building our stability on a shaky foundation. The Stoics encourage us to instead focus on what is truly within our control: our character, our values, and how we respond to life's challenges. For example, instead of worrying about whether others like us, we can focus on being kind and authentic. Instead of chasing material wealth, we can cultivate gratitude for what we already have. This doesn't mean we shouldn't aim for success or enjoy nice things. It simply means not letting them define our worth or dictate our emotions. By detaching from the overvaluation of externals, we free ourselves from the constant pressure to measure up to external standards. To put this into practice, take a moment to reflect on what you've been chasing. Are you placing too much importance on things that don't truly contribute to your inner peace? Shifting your focus inward can help you build a more resilient and contented mindset. As we continue, we'll explore how practicing self-discipline can further strengthen this inner foundation. Building on this foundation, let's explore how self-discipline plays a crucial role in managing anxiety. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom comes not from external circumstances but from mastering ourselves. When we practice self-discipline, we gain control over our thoughts, actions, and reactions, which creates a sense of inner stability. Think about it. Anxiety often arises when we feel overwhelmed by external pressures or our own impulses. By cultivating discipline, we can respond to these challenges with clarity and purpose rather than being swept away by fear or uncertainty. For example, instead of giving in to the urge to procrastinate or indulge in distractions, self-discipline allows us to focus on what truly matters. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or denying ourselves pleasure. It means making intentional choices that align with our values and long-term goals. A simple way to start is by setting small, manageable goals each day. Whether it's dedicating time to a meaningful task, practicing mindfulness, or sticking to a healthy routine, these acts of discipline reinforce our sense of control. Over time, this builds resilience and confidence, reducing the grip of anxiety on our lives. Self-discipline also helps us avoid impulsive reactions to stressful situations. Instead of lashing out or spiraling into worry, we can pause, reflect, and choose a measured response. This approach not only reduces immediate anxiety, but also strengthens our ability to handle future challenges. By practicing self-discipline, we create a solid inner foundation that supports our well-being, no matter what life throws our way. As we continue, we'll delve into how detaching from outcomes can further enhance this sense of stability. Now let's move into a powerful Stoic practice that complements self-discipline: detaching from outcomes. One of the most common sources of anxiety is the pressure we put on ourselves to achieve specific results. We worry about whether we'll succeed, how others will judge us, or what might go wrong. But Stoicism reminds us that while we can control our actions, we cannot control the outcomes. This isn't about giving up on goals or being indifferent. It's about shifting our focus to what truly matters, our effort and intention. Imagine preparing for a job interview. You can research, practice, and present yourself with confidence, but you can't control the final decision. If you tie your self-worth solely to the outcome, you set yourself up for unnecessary stress. Instead, focus on doing your best and let go of the rest. This mindset not only reduces anxiety, but also frees you to take risks and embrace opportunities without fear of failure. Detaching from outcomes also helps us handle setbacks with resilience. When things don't go as planned, we can reflect on what we've learned rather than dwelling on what we've lost. For example, if a project falls through, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, ask yourself, did I give it my all? What can I take away from this experience? This approach keeps you grounded and forward-focused. Practicing detachment doesn't mean becoming passive, it means embracing uncertainty and trusting the process. By focusing on your efforts rather than the results, you cultivate a sense of peace and purpose, even in the face of life's unpredictability. Next, we'll explore how reflecting on our mortality can further anchor us in this Stoic mindset. Now, let's turn our attention to a profound Stoic practice that can shift how we view life itself, remembering our mortality, or what the Stoics called memento mori. At first glance, reflecting on death might seem grim or unsettling, but for the Stoics, it was a powerful tool for gaining perspective and clarity. When we remind ourselves that our time is limited, it helps us cut through the noise of trivial worries and focus on what truly matters. Think about it. How often do we stress over minor inconveniences, social pressures, or temporary setbacks? These things can feel overwhelming in the moment, but when we step back and consider the bigger picture, our finite time on this earth, they often shrink in significance. Memento mori isn't about dwelling on fear or sadness. It's about living with purpose and intention. By acknowledging that life is fleeting, we're inspired to make the most of each day, to nurture meaningful relationships, and to pursue what aligns with our deepest values. For example, if you're anxious about a disagreement with a friend, reflecting on mortality might remind you of the importance of resolving conflict and cherishing the people in your life. Similarly, if you're hesitating to pursue a dream, this practice can push you to take action, knowing that time won't wait. Embracing memento mori also helps us let go of perfectionism and the need for external validation. When we accept that life is short, we're less likely to waste energy on things that don't truly contribute to our growth or happiness. Instead, we focus on what's essential, cultivating a sense of peace and fulfillment. This Stoic practice isn't just about facing death, it's about embracing life with gratitude and clarity. Next, we'll explore how avoiding the habit of catastrophizing can further help us manage anxiety. Another practical approach Stoicism offers is to avoid catastrophizing, or the tendency to blow situations out of proportion. When we catastrophize, we often imagine the worst possible outcomes, letting our fears and anxieties spiral out of control. For example, you might worry that a small mistake at work could lead to losing your job, or that a minor disagreement with a loved one could ruin the relationship forever. While these thoughts can feel overwhelming, Stoicism teaches us to pause and assess the situation rationally. Ask yourself, is this outcome really as likely as it seems? What evidence do I have to support this fear? More often than not, you'll find that the worst-case scenario is far less probable than your mind makes it out to be. By stepping back and examining the situation objectively, you can break the cycle of negative thinking and regain a sense of calm. This doesn't mean ignoring potential challenges. It simply means approaching them with a clear and balanced mindset. Stoics emphasize focusing on what is within your control, your thoughts, actions, and responses, rather than fixating on imagined disasters. A helpful exercise is to write down your fears and then evaluate them critically. Are they based on facts, or are they fueled by anxiety? This practice can help you separate realistic concerns from exaggerated worries, allowing you to address problems more effectively. By training yourself to avoid catastrophizing, you'll find that many of the things you fear aren't as daunting as they seem. This Stoic lesson encourages us to face life's uncertainties with clarity and confidence, reducing the grip that anxiety has on our mind. Up next, we'll explore how cultivating inner virtue can provide a sense of purpose and further ease anxiety. Now, let's turn our attention to another powerful Stoic practice, cultivating inner virtue. This lesson centers on developing qualities like wisdom, courage, and justice, which not only strengthen your character but also provide a profound sense of purpose that can help ease anxiety. When we focus on building these virtues, we shift our attention away from external pressures and uncertainties, grounding ourselves in something deeper and more meaningful. Wisdom, for instance, teaches us to see situations clearly and make thoughtful decisions rather than reacting impulsively out of fear. Courage allows us to face challenges head-on, even when they feel intimidating, while justice reminds us to act with fairness and integrity, both toward ourselves and others. By prioritizing these virtues, we create an internal compass that guides us through life's ups and downs. This focus on inner growth can be incredibly grounding, especially when anxiety threatens to pull us into a spiral of worry. Instead of fixating on what might go wrong, we can ask ourselves, how can I act with wisdom in this moment? What does courage look like here? How can I approach this situation with fairness? These questions redirect our energy toward constructive action, reducing the mental clutter that often fuels anxiety. Cultivating inner virtue isn't about chasing perfection. It's about striving to be the best version of yourself, even in difficult times. This sense of purpose and direction can act as an anchor, helping you navigate life's storms with greater calm and confidence. Next, we'll explore how embracing voluntary discomfort can build resilience and further reduce fear in the face of adversity. Moving forward, let's explore the concept of voluntary discomfort, a powerful Stoic practice that can help you build resilience and reduce fear. The idea is simple yet profound. By willingly embracing small hardships, you train your mind and body to handle greater challenges with ease. This isn't about seeking suffering for its own sake, but about preparing yourself for life's inevitable difficulties. For example, you might choose to wake up earlier than usual, go for a walk in the cold, or skip a meal occasionally. These acts, while minor, teach you to tolerate discomfort and develop a sense of control over your reactions. When you voluntarily face small struggles, you prove to yourself that you can endure much more than you think. This practice also helps you detach from the fear of the unknown. By actively putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, you reduce the anxiety that often comes from worrying about what might happen. Over time, this builds mental toughness and confidence, allowing you to face larger challenges with a calm, steady mindset. Think of it as strengthening a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Voluntary discomfort reminds you that hardships are not something to avoid but opportunities to grow. It's a practical way to apply Stoic principles in everyday life, transforming fear into resilience. Next, we'll look at how limiting comparisons to others can further ease anxiety and help you focus on your own path. Now, let's shift our focus to something that often goes unnoticed but has a significant impact on our mental well-being: the habit of comparing ourselves to others. Stoicism offers a profound perspective on this, teaching us to redirect our attention inward rather than outward. When we constantly measure our lives against others, whether it's their achievements, possessions, or appearance, we create unnecessary anxiety. This comparison game is a trap because it shifts our focus away from what truly matters: our own growth and progress. Stoic philosophy reminds us that everyone's journey is unique. What works for someone else might not be the right path for you, and that's perfectly okay. Instead of feeling inadequate when comparing ourselves to others, Stoicism encourages us to focus on our own values, goals, and efforts. By doing so, we free ourselves from the pressure to measure up to external standards. Think about it. When you stop comparing, you stop competing with others and start focusing on becoming the best version of yourself. This doesn't mean ignoring others entirely. It simply means recognizing that their journey is theirs and yours is yours. Stoicism teaches us to embrace our individual path, knowing that true fulfillment comes from inner growth, not external validation. So the next time you catch yourself comparing, pause and remind yourself of this Stoic wisdom. shift your focus back to what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and your progress. This shift can be incredibly liberating, reducing anxiety and helping you move forward with clarity and purpose. Up next, we'll explore how embracing impermanence can further ease our fears and help us live more freely. Now, let's turn our attention to a fundamental truth of life: impermanence. Stoicism teaches us to embrace the idea that nothing lasts forever, something that can be both unsettling and liberating. Think about it, everything in life, from our possessions to our relationships, is temporary. This reality can create anxiety if we cling too tightly to what we have, fearing its loss. But Stoicism offers a different perspective. By accepting impermanence, we can reduce our attachment and the fear that comes with it. The Stoics believed that recognizing the transient nature of things helps us appreciate them more deeply while they're here, without letting their eventual loss overwhelm us. For example, take a moment to reflect on a cherished experience or object. Knowing it won't last forever doesn't diminish its value, it enhances it. When we stop resisting the natural flow of life, we free ourselves from the constant worry of losing what we hold dear. This mindset shift allows us to live more fully in the present, savoring each moment without the weight of fear. Embracing impermanence doesn't mean we stop caring or investing in what matters to us. It simply means we approach life with a sense of openness and adaptability, understanding that change is inevitable. So, the next time you feel anxious about losing something or someone, remind yourself of this Stoic lesson. Let go of the need for permanence and focus on the beauty of the here and now. This practice can bring a profound sense of peace and help you navigate life's ups and downs with greater resilience. Up next, we'll explore how daily reflection through Stoic journaling can further help us process emotions and reduce anxiety. Now, let's shift our focus to a powerful Stoic practice that has stood the test of time: daily reflection through journaling. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius believed that taking time each day to reflect on our thoughts, actions, and emotions is essential for inner peace. Journaling isn't just about writing, it's about creating a space to pause, process, and gain clarity. When we sit down to reflect, we give ourselves the opportunity to untangle the emotions that often lead to anxiety. For example, if you're feeling overwhelmed, writing about what's troubling you can help you see the situation more objectively. It's like having a conversation with yourself where you can ask, why am I feeling this way? Is this within my control? How can I respond better? This practice allows you to identify patterns in your thoughts and behaviors, making it easier to address the root causes of anxiety. Marcus Aurelius himself used his journal, now known as Meditations, to remind himself of Stoic principles and guide his actions. You don't need to write pages, just a few sentences about what you're grateful for, what you've learned, or how you've applied Stoic teachings can make a big difference. By making journaling a daily habit, you create a ritual of self-awareness and growth. Over time, this practice helps you build emotional resilience and approach life's challenges with a calmer, more focused mindset. So grab a notebook and start reflecting. It's a simple yet transformative step toward reducing anxiety and living a more intentional life. Up next, we'll explore how to avoid overthinking and simplify your thoughts for greater peace of mind. Continuing our journey through Stoic wisdom, let's explore how to avoid overthinking, one of the most common sources of anxiety. Stoicism teaches us that overthinking often stems from dwelling on things outside our control or creating endless scenarios in our mind. Instead of getting lost in a whirlwind of what-ifs, Stoics encourage us to simplify our thoughts and focus on what we can actually do in the present moment. Think of it like this: your mind is like a cluttered room. The more you pile up unnecessary thoughts, the harder it becomes to find clarity and take action. Stoicism helps us declutter by asking, what's the next step I can take right now? Rather than analyzing every possible outcome, focus on one thing you can do to move forward. For example, if you're worried about a big project, instead of stressing over every detail, break it down into manageable tasks and tackle them one at a time. This shift from overthinking to action not only reduces anxiety but also empowers you to make progress. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." This reminder encourages us to stop amplifying our worries and instead approach challenges with a calm, focused mindset. By practicing this Stoic principle, you'll find that simplifying your thoughts leads to greater peace and productivity. So, the next time you catch yourself overthinking, take a deep breath, ask what's within your control, and take that first step. Now, let's move forward to the next lesson, where we'll discuss how to maintain equanimity, a key Stoic practice for staying balanced in the face of adversity. Moving forward, let's explore the Stoic practice of equanimity, the ability to stay calm and balanced, no matter what life throws your way. In a world filled with ups and downs, equanimity acts as an anchor, helping us navigate challenges without being swept away by emotions. Think of it as maintaining an even keel amidst a storm. Stoics believe that while we can't control external events, we can control how we respond to them. This is where equanimity comes in. It's about training yourself to remain steady, whether you're facing a setback or a success. For example, if you receive criticism at work, instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? This shift in perspective allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than emotionally. Marcus Aurelius, a champion of equanimity, often reminded himself to see events as they are, not as they feel in the heat of the moment. He wrote, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been." This powerful idea teaches us that our reactions are within our control, even when the circumstances are not. To cultivate equanimity, start by observing your emotional triggers. When something upsets you, pause and take a few deep breaths. Remind yourself that your peace of mind is more valuable than any temporary disturbance. Over time, this practice will help you build resilience and face life's challenges with a calm and steady heart. So, the next time you're met with adversity, remember that equanimity is your superpower, a tool to keep you grounded and focused, no matter what comes your way. Now, let's continue our journey and explore how focusing on the big picture can help reduce anxiety over minor issues. Now, let's shift our focus to the bigger picture, a powerful Stoic tool for reducing anxiety over the small stuff. Often, we get caught up in the details of a problem, magnifying its importance and allowing it to consume our thoughts. But Stoicism teaches us to step back and view the situation from a wider lens. Imagine standing on a mountaintop suddenly. The things that seemed overwhelming at ground level appear much smaller and more manageable. This shift in perspective helps us recognize that many of the issues we worry about are temporary or insignificant in the grand scheme of life. For example, if you're stressing over a mistake at work, remind yourself that this one error doesn't define your entire career. By zooming out, you can see it as just a single moment in a much larger journey. Stoics like Seneca often emphasize the importance of this practice, encouraging us to reflect on the larger purpose of our lives. He wrote, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." This reminder helps us focus on what truly matters rather than getting stuck on minor setbacks. To apply this lesson, try asking yourself, will this still matter in a week, a month, or a year? If the answer is no, let it go. By focusing on the big picture, you can free yourself from unnecessary stress and anxiety, allowing you to channel your energy into what truly counts. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, take a moment to step back and see the broader context. It's a simple yet transformative way to regain clarity and peace of mind. Now, let's move on to the next lesson, where we'll explore how accepting uncertainty can help us navigate life's unpredictability with greater ease. Moving forward, let's dive into a lesson that touches the core of human anxiety, our resistance to uncertainty. Life is filled with unknowns, and while this can feel unsettling, Stoicism offers a refreshing perspective. Instead of fearing what we can't predict, Stoics encourage us to embrace uncertainty as a natural part of existence. Think of life as a river. It's always flowing, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, but never stagnant. Trying to control every twist and turn only leads to frustration. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to accept the ebb and flow, understanding that uncertainty is not an enemy but a teacher. For example, if you're anxious about an upcoming event or decision, remind yourself that worrying won't change the outcome. What you can control is how you respond to whatever happens. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This mindset shifts our focus from trying to predict the future to preparing ourselves to handle it with resilience. To practice this lesson, try reframing uncertainty as an opportunity for growth. When faced with the unknown, ask yourself, what can I learn from this, or how can I adapt? By accepting uncertainty, you reduce the grip of anxiety and open yourself to new possibilities. So the next time you feel uneasy about the unpredictable, take a deep breath and remind yourself that uncertainty is simply a part of the journey. Now, let's move on to the next lesson, where we'll explore how cultivating patience can help us manage anxiety with greater ease. Now, let's turn our attention to a virtue that can be a powerful ally in managing anxiety: patience. In a world that often feels rushed and demanding, Stoicism reminds us that not everything happens on our timeline. Impatience fuels anxiety as we fixate on outcomes we can't control. But when we cultivate patience, we learn to trust the process of life and allow things to unfold in their own time. The Stoics believed that patience is not about passively waiting, but about maintaining a calm and steady mindset, even when things seem slow or uncertain. Take, for example, waiting for a job offer or the results of a medical test. The natural impulse might be to obsess over the outcome, but patience teaches us to focus on what we can do in the present, whether it's preparing for next steps or simply taking care of ourselves. Seneca once wrote, "Time heals what reason cannot." This is a reminder that some things simply need time, and our impatience won't speed them up. To practice this lesson, start by noticing when you feel rushed or anxious about timing. Instead of resisting the wait, try to see it as an opportunity to practice stillness and presence. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to support myself while I wait? By shifting your focus to the present moment, you reduce the tension of impatience and create space for calm. Patience isn't about giving up, it's about finding peace in the process. So the next time life feels like it's moving too slowly, take a deep breath and remind yourself that good things often take time. Now, let's move forward and explore another lesson that can further ease the weight of anxiety in our lives. Building on the idea of patience, let's explore another practical Stoic lesson that can help ease the burden of anxiety: the importance of avoiding overcommitting. In our modern world, it's easy to fall into the trap of saying yes to every request, opportunity, or obligation that comes our way. But Stoicism teaches us that overcommitment is a major source of stress and anxiety. When we spread ourselves too thin, we lose focus, energy, and the ability to fully engage with what truly matters. The Stoic approach is to set clear boundaries and learn to say no without guilt. This isn't about being selfish, it's about prioritizing your well-being and ensuring you have the capacity to give your best to the things that align with your values. Think about it, when you say yes to everything, you're essentially saying no to yourself, your peace of mind, your time, and your ability to handle challenges effectively. Seneca advised, if you wish to have leisure for your mind, you must either be poor or resemble the poor. What he meant is that simplicity and intentionality are key to maintaining inner calm. To put this into practice, start by evaluating your commitments. Ask yourself, Does this align with my values? Is this essential, or am I doing it out of obligation or fear of missing out? If it doesn't serve your growth or well-being, consider letting it go. Setting boundaries isn't just about saying no to others, it's about saying yes to yourself, to your mental health, your focus, and your ability to live with purpose. By embracing this lesson, you'll find that reducing overcommitment doesn't just lower stress, it creates space for clarity, calm, and meaningful engagement with life. Now, let's continue our journey and uncover another Stoic principle that can further lighten the load of anxiety. Moving forward, let's turn our attention to a lesson that can significantly soften the weight of anxiety: practicing compassion toward yourself. Often, when we feel anxious, we're our own harshest critics, drowning in guilt or self-reproach. Stoicism, while often associated with discipline and resilience, also emphasizes the importance of self-compassion as a way to find inner peace. The Stoics believed that self-criticism, when excessive, only fuels anxiety and prevents us from moving forward. Instead of berating yourself for mistakes or perceived shortcomings, Stoicism teaches us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we'd offer a close friend. This doesn't mean ignoring areas where we can improve, but rather approaching ourselves with patience and empathy. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." While this might seem contradictory, it actually highlights a key Stoic principle: holding ourselves accountable without descending into self-loathing. Self-compassion allows us to acknowledge our flaws without letting them define us. It's about recognizing that imperfection is part of being human and that growth comes from learning, not from punishing ourselves. A practical way to cultivate self-compassion is through reflective journaling. Take a moment each day to write down something you're struggling with and then reframe it with kindness. For example, instead of saying, "I failed at that task," try, "I did my best and I'll learn from this experience." This shift in perspective can help reduce guilt and create a healthier relationship with yourself. Remember, self-compassion isn't about making excuses, it's about giving yourself the grace to be human. When you embrace this Stoic lesson, you'll find that being kinder to yourself not only eases anxiety, but also strengthens your ability to face challenges with courage and clarity. With this in mind, let's explore another Stoic principle that can further guide us toward a calmer, more centered life. Now, let's shift our focus to a lesson that can liberate us from the constant need for external approval, seeking wisdom, not validation. In a world where social media and societal expectations often dictate our sense of worth, Stoicism offers a refreshing perspective. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes from cultivating wisdom and understanding, not from seeking the approval of others. When we base our self-worth on external validation, we surrender our peace of mind to the unpredictable opinions of those around us. This constant need for approval can fuel anxiety as we become trapped in a cycle of trying to meet others' expectations. Stoicism teaches us to redirect our energy inward, focusing on personal growth and the pursuit of knowledge. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This reminds us that our value isn't determined by others' perceptions, but by how we choose to respond to life's challenges. Seeking wisdom means prioritizing self-improvement, learning from experiences, and developing a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. It's about asking questions like, "What can I learn from this situation?" rather than, "What will others think of me?" This shift in focus helps us build inner confidence and reduces the anxiety that comes from constantly seeking validation. A practical way to embrace this Stoic principle is to reflect on your daily actions and ask yourself if they align with your values or if they're driven by a desire for approval. Over time, this practice can help you detach from external judgments and find greater peace in your own authenticity. Remember, wisdom is a lifelong journey, and every step you take toward it strengthens your ability to live a calmer, more centered life. With this mindset in place, let's move forward to explore another Stoic lesson that can further guide us toward tranquility. Turning our attention now to the power of simplicity, Stoicism teaches us that a cluttered life often leads to a cluttered mind. When we fill our days with excessive commitments, possessions, and distractions, we create unnecessary stress and anxiety. The Stoics believed in living modestly and focusing on what truly matters. By stripping away the non-essential, we can create more space for peace and clarity. Think about it, how much of what we worry about actually adds value to our lives? Simplifying doesn't mean depriving ourselves, it means prioritizing what aligns with our values and letting go of the rest. This could look like decluttering your physical space, setting boundaries with your time, or reducing the noise of constant information overload. When we embrace simplicity, we free ourselves from the weight of unnecessary burdens and create room for what truly nourishes our well-being. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This perspective reminds us that true richness comes from contentment, not accumulation. Start by identifying one area of your life that feels overwhelming or chaotic, and take small steps to simplify it. Whether it's saying no to commitments that drain you or letting go of material possessions that no longer serve you, each step toward simplicity is a step toward tranquility. By reducing the noise in our lives, we can focus on what truly matters and find greater peace in the present moment. With this principle in mind, let's explore how Stoicism encourages us to focus on progress rather than perfection in the next lesson. Shifting our focus to the next lesson, let's explore a principle that can transform how we approach our goals and reduce the pressure we often place on ourselves. Stoicism teaches us to focus on progress, not perfection. In a world that often glorifies flawless outcomes, this idea can feel counterintuitive, but it's incredibly freeing. The Stoics understood that perfection is an illusion, a standard that's not only unattainable but also a source of unnecessary stress and anxiety. Instead, they encouraged us to embrace the journey of continuous improvement. Think about it, when we fixate on achieving perfection, we set ourselves up for disappointment. But when we shift our mindset to value progress, even small steps forward become meaningful victories. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "Don't set your heart on all the details being just as you imagine them." This simple yet profound statement underscores the importance of flexibility and resilience. Progress is about doing our best with what we have, learning from mistakes, and moving forward without being paralyzed by the fear of failure. Start by setting realistic, incremental goals that align with your values. Celebrate each step you take, no matter how small, and recognize that growth is a process, not a destination. By focusing on progress, we free ourselves from the weight of unrealistic expectations and open the door to greater fulfillment and peace. Let's carry this mindset into our next lesson, where we'll explore how Stoicism reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles. Stepping into our final lesson, let's reflect on a truth that has been a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy: you are not alone. One of the most profound ways Stoicism helps us overcome anxiety is by reminding us of our shared humanity. When we feel overwhelmed by our struggles, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we're the only ones facing such challenges. But the Stoics teach us that hardship is a universal experience, something every person encounters in their own way. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about this, urging himself to remember that others have walked similar paths and endured similar trials. This realization can be incredibly comforting. It shifts our perspective from isolation to connection. Think about it, when we remind ourselves that others have faced and overcome difficulties, we feel less alone in our struggles. This shared human experience fosters empathy and resilience. Stoicism encourages us to see ourselves as part of a larger whole, connected to others through our common challenges and triumphs. By embracing this mindset, we can reduce feelings of isolation and anxiety. finding strength in the knowledge that we're not navigating life's difficulties in solitude. So, the next time you feel weighed down by anxiety, take a moment to remind yourself of this Stoic truth: you are not alone. Tapping into this sense of shared humanity can be a powerful tool for finding peace and perspective. As we wrap up these 30 lessons, let's carry this wisdom forward, knowing that Stoicism offers not just a philosophy, but a community of shared resilience and understanding. As we bring our journey through these 30 Stoic lessons to a close, it's clear that Stoicism offers far more than just philosophical ideas. It provides a practical, actionable toolkit for overcoming anxiety. From focusing on what we can control to embracing change, practicing gratitude, and cultivating emotional resilience, each lesson builds on the others to create a framework for inner strength and peace. Together, these principles remind us that anxiety doesn't have to control our lives. Instead, we can approach challenges with clarity, courage, and a sense of purpose. The Stoic way teaches us to reframe our struggles, find meaning in adversity, and connect with the shared human experience that binds us all. Now, it's your turn to take these lessons and apply them in your own life. Start small, perhaps by journaling your thoughts, practicing mindfulness, or reminding yourself of what's within your control. Over time, these habits can transform the way you respond to stress and uncertainty. We'd love to hear about your experiences as you explore these Stoic practices. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What lesson resonated with you the most? How has Stoicism helped you manage anxiety? And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more wisdom and insights on living a balanced, resilient life. Remember, the journey to overcoming anxiety is ongoing, but with Stoicism as your guide, you're never alone. Thank you for joining me today, and here's to finding peace and strength in every step of your path.